back to another episode of Steak Bites. I'm Kara Smith, your host and fellow enthusiast for all things tasteful and fulfilling. Today we're talking all things barbecue, beef, and why the story behind your food matters. When you fire up the grill, do you think about where your beef came from? Who raised it? How it was finished? Our guest today does, and he makes it his mission to bring people together around incredible food experiences. Jack Arnold is a live fire cooking expert who's turned his passion for barbecue into a thriving community, working with top brands and sharing his knowledge to help people elevate their backyard cooking. From the importance of sourcing quality beef to the power of partnerships in the barbecue world, we're going to cover it all today. So grab your favorite steak, settle in, and let's dive into the world of fire, flavor, and the stories that make even great food better. Welcome, Jack.
How you doing, Kara? Nice to see you.
You too, Jack. Thanks.
Thank you so much for having me on today, and happy belated International Women's Day to you and the little girls.
You bet. Yeah, they had a bombshell of a day, doing all of the ranching things, feeding cows, and hanging out with mom and dad. So
best times in life, right there.
There you go.
I love it.
Well, thanks for joining us, Jack. I'd like to start with your background. What sparked your love for barbecue and live fire cooking?
Well, that's an easy question, but it's a detailed answer. I grew up in the mountains of Virginia, in Blacksburg, until I was 7, and then up to Roanoke, up until I was 24 years old. My father was a native Texan, and when he first taught me how to cook over charcoal, I think I was 9 years old. Yes, I was 9. I was in 3rd grade. And it instantly hit me as an absolutely better way of cooking food, about how well it tastes. And obviously being from Texas, which the beef country land, that was what he specialized in, was cooking me steaks. And you remember these little things about the time you spend with good people, the people you love the most, over these meals, sharing conversations and good times. I mean, that's truly what we take with us in the end, I believe. And starting that at such a young age was very special to me. And my love of food only got bigger over the years. And then I think it was about 2012, 2013 when I got my first big green egg and started doing charcoal cooking, and I really just loved everything about being outside and bringing my friends and family over to do barbecue. Long cooks, there's nothing better than paying off when people try it and say how good it is. So
there is something special about charcoal. Oh man, growing up a rancher's daughter, we ate beef a lot, clearly. But
oh, yeah.
My dad, he started with charcoal cooking. Like, that was all he would do. And he had to have, that dedicated time to make sure that we knew we were going to cook that steak right.
Right.
And then you had less time. And then all of a sudden you moved to propane because, you only had a certain time window. But I do love that kind of ambiance of charcoal.
It's a transition everyone makes at some point due to time, yes.
Yes. Yeah, you're right though. Like, that experience and the piece of it that can be lost. It moves into more transactional instead of the experience behind food, which is what I'd say you're the expert at, right, Jack? How do you create that experience?
I try to see. So what I do, and you know what I do, Carrie. You've seen it firsthand. I try to get a big crowd of people together in a beautiful setting to enjoy essentially backyard barbecue food, just like they would do in their own backyards with the people they love and care about, only in a 5-star setting. So everyone's heard of the farm to table concept. Well, this is essentially live fire to table concept. The crowd is watching me cook their Colorado craft beef to the very best of my abilities over the Grill of Grills Kongs, which are just putting out great flame and crusting all the flavor that we put in there. And people are getting to see it firsthand, and then they try it. It just really enhances the experience. I think it feels like it connects them better to the food, and it's what it's all about. And then when you have that serene setting, you really don't want to leave, and you just kind of take in that, and you get to a certain point in your life where you're collecting moments and memories and these great times that you had instead of material things. It's just kind of the way it goes after time.
For sure. So how did you turn this passion into a career? What does that look like for you?
Well, being a man who's always loved to travel and loved to cook, I I saw the community was getting very, very big, mainly in 2018 around that time. More incredible cooks just kept appearing and putting out great stuff. And I just thought at that time, is social media and posting and doing this just what I want to do forever? I'm like, no, I've been known as being a man of the people. So I love being out in front of people. So how do I do something more than just demos in my local community to show what makes me different, what energy I have and how I can bring people together. So in, I guess it was September of 2018. And I've told this story before. It's really great. A gentleman named Adam Tuttle, who worked at the Four Seasons Las Vegas, said that he had, been watching me and following me. And he loves cooking steaks and trying to follow my methods and everything. And it came to me right there. I said, what if I could get some partners involved and we could do a nice barbecue event here at your hotel, at your property, and find a way to generate revenue instead of letting the guests go out on the Las Vegas Strip and spending their money elsewhere. And lo and behold, he liked that idea and liked it enough to where he and my friend Josh Aronson at the time, food and beverage director, they called some other properties and said, this is what we're going to do. This sounds fun. Maybe you should consider it. And did not know September 2018 that little idea that I had and that conversation I had would turn into a full-time job. It's proof you never know where life's going to take you, but shots need to, you got to shoot your shots seriously, because you'll never know. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So I was really glad that I had that conversation, and we developed a relationship, and then I've developed them with many of these unbelievable hotels and resorts that, they could bring anyone in the world in to host their barbecue events. So for them to trust me and believe in me and see that what we're doing is different than anyone, that's something I'm very, very humbled and honored and blessed to be a part of. And there's no breaks in sight at this point. So
Yeah, that's awesome. That's you're a master at the the networking side, the people, the experience that goes into that. You've worked with some incredible brands, some incredible people. What role do those collaborations have in your journey?
it's literally just me wanting people to be happy. I want people to embrace the cooking and the barbecue the way that I do, and we all have busy lives, and I just treat everybody like an individual. I'm lucky that people allow me into their lives and into their homes to be able to cook for them and their families and friends. The I guess the one thing that makes me different is that I've just learned, number one rule: don't insult another human's intelligence, because they can see right through you within 5 minutes. You just got to be yourself. They can take you or leave you, but if you're showing them something different they haven't seen before and always wearing a smile, you don't know that someone in that entire room or in the crowd's not having the worst day of their life. Anything can happen to them. And if I'm wearing the smile and constantly checking on everybody and being positive and bringing energy, I don't know for a fact I'm going to change their day, but I have the ability to brighten it up a little bit, or at least change the temperature in the atmosphere. It goes a long way. And I feel that, the grills are very high quality. The Gorilla Grills Kongs, they speak for themselves. Your steaks, Colorado craft beef, are very high quality. They speak for themselves. But I think that energy is everything. And bringing that into the element with the great food and the backyard barbecue food is something that is a simple concept, but for some reason had not yet been tapped in this world. So I figured I'd try a job that doesn't exist, pull a job out of the sky and see if it works,
Yeah,
Only in America, Kara, can you be a barbecue event host.
that's a true story. That is a true story. It's been really fun to see how not just the company, but the experience of beef, of high quality beef, has continued to evolve.
It's amazing.
It is. It's the people. It's the atmosphere. It's that experience. It's how people leave one of your events and the way you made them feel. That's what they remember.
And that's what means the most to me. I always say it's not about me. These folks can do whatever they want on their Saturday nights. You work your lives away, Monday through Friday. You get 2 nights free. You get 52 Saturdays free a year. That's it. If you're going to spend one of those with me, I will make it memorable for you. And it's not to mention, while we're cooking all these steaks, people's energy doesn't die. They're getting all the great bioavailable nutrients and protein and even creatine in these steaks. They keep going and they rock for a while, and it's so fun to see. I mean, your husband, I mean, Jeff has seen numerous of these events right now, and it's just every one of them's different in many ways, but it's all people coming for the same experience, or at least to try something new. And that's what we enjoy seeing more than anything. We've talked about that. It's great.
Yeah, it is. It's, of course, the base of Steak Bites, the base of what we do is that beef. Where we start with that product, and you have to start with an incredible product.
You're not going to end with one if you don't.
No, exactly. What are your thoughts around that, Jack? Like, why does that matter? The quality of the beef. What do you look for? Kind of walk our listeners through that. Like, why does that matter so much?
Well, I mean, first off, you can taste it in the experience. I mean, you can taste the difference between a low quality steak and a high quality steak. And when we're putting it over live fire, and I'm known for only seasoning one side of the steaks. When I'm putting that crust, inside, I'm letting the natural flavor shine through of the quality steaks. Like, what I usually do is you season one side, crust that side down, then flip it, let the fats take over. It will build, and I'm not over salting it that way. I feel like I'm respecting the hardworking ranchers more by not over salting it, letting the natural flavor shine through. If you need to add a little salt at the end, yeah, you can certainly do that, but I do it that way so that people can taste the natural flavor and the difference in this quality of beef.
Yeah, there's simplicity. Simplicity is great, isn't it?
It is. People overdo things all the time. Like I've stopped doing the gourmet style hamburgers, and I keep going back to American cheese, pickles and onions, and ketchup and mayo. That's about it. Simple.
Yeah. World
so yeah,
why don't you be a
think
classic?
Simplicity is good.
Yeah, being a classic never goes out of style, right?
Never. Steaks aren't going anywhere for any time. It's the same principle with it. I mean, you can't really do it but so many different ways, but if you really want to get experimental with it, you can name 100 different steak dishes.
Yeah. Yeah, you could. Well, and even, some of the things that we talked about when we first started working with Jack was the way we could customize, which is very different than a lot of other, whether it's beef companies or meat purveyors or whoever you want to talk to about. The fact that we can customize and some of the things that we can do with a knife make such a big difference of, you have this starting point that's already different or, a little more superior in essence than where you could have started. So it just adds to that experience level of what somebody gets at your events.
Well, which is what I love, what we have been doing this year is that we're now sending multiple cuts, as you know. We're sending bavettes, we're sending skirt steaks, we're sending tri-tips, the bone-in ribeyes. We're sending multiple cuts so that people can experience different parts that they don't always get to, plus some of their favorites. Mm-hmm. So it is a steak experience, but when we get the smoke flowing, we got all these other sides, and we got music going. It's like a barbecue concert, Kara. You've seen it,
It's the Jack Arnold experience.
It's something that I just want people to experience at least once, because in fairness, you would understand it's kind of hard for me to explain even what I do for a living until you see it.
That's true. It is. It's hard to write, a little like thesis on Jack Arnold and the type of experience you have.
I can't even do it, and I am me.
So that experience level, Jack, what would you, if you had to pinpoint one thing, what would you say is the most memorable about a Jack Arnold event?
I say something that a lot of people have been catching on to the last couple of years, they're saying is what's really special about it is the timing. Because I'll put the steaks on, close the lid, and then I'll go out in the crowd and I'll go talk to everybody. And half of them are wondering, dude, is he going to burn the steaks that he just put on? They don't know that I have the mental clock in my head, which is why I incorporate the music. I know what songs are going in my playlist. I know that they're 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes long. Incorporating that, get two songs in. You're 7.5 minutes in. Excuse me, folks, I got to go flip the steaks. I think that's what makes it so special is that I know the timing of when to operate the stakes, when to work with the crowd and go engage with them and bring some energy, see how they're doing, how they're enjoying themselves, and then get back to the stakes in perfect time to get them off and rested, carved up, handed off to the culinary team so they can execute the final plate for the crowd.
Yeah, for sure.
I love how people have been catching up with that. 'Cause that's something I've worked on for a while is the timing of everything, and the music is a big role, and people don't realize that.
There you go. That's a good behind the scenes with Jack Arnold
It
on
sure
how
is.
he executes that flawlessly. So with your experiences, Jack, we talked about a little bit of the type of properties you typically partner with. Of course, making sure that beef is as high quality as you can get. All of the other things that come about that. Could you just walk our listeners through that? Especially most of them probably have never been to a Jack Arnold event, right? So if you could walk them through that, and then also close with this section here of the next places they can find you. So if they want to get tickets for a barbecue experience, where would they do that?
So the exact question is, where would I say has been what's like the most memorable spot? Where do we have more coming?
Like, what's your normal partnership? What does that normally look like? For an example of whether it's these hotel properties, maybe some of your favorite events that you've done,
Yeah.
just so people can kind of get an idea of normally where you would find Jack Arnold.
Okay, so I do have my website. You will see that most of my events are generally at luxury hotel and resort properties. And the difference between the two is pretty simple. The hotels are usually, in a downtown urban area, while the resorts are more out in the middle of nowhere, open, kind of beach area for some. I It's surprising so far for 2025. We're already booked into Halloween, which is going to be at Keswick Hall in Virginia, where we're going to be doing Fourth of July as well this year. We're going to be doing a Final Four barbecue at the Hotel Ven in Grapevine, Texas. We are doing Memorial Day at the Forbes five-star Sea Island Resort in Georgia. And when we all attended the Forbes Travel Guide Summit in Vegas last February, Kara, that was really a catapult for my career to realize all these folks and all these properties I just hadn't met or hadn't, you know, become accustomed with me. I feel like I hadn't done my research and I felt bad about that. But so many of them have let us through their doors since that event. And while I had done like 30 events for Four Seasons properties before that one, this gave so many of the representatives from other properties to see what I do in person, without even having to hire me or bring me in. So they got to see it firsthand and realize, could this or could this not work at our location? And you get probably about 50% of them across the board say this would probably work out well, or I don't know if we can do this. And it's nothing to be upset about. I mean, you can either do it or you not, or you can't. A lot of my events usually are on Saturdays. A lot of properties have weddings on Saturdays. So it's very difficult to get the timing right for everything. But once we get it confirmed, we go hard on social media promoting it. We get press releases. We get all the partners. Obviously, you guys are a headline for every one of the events that we do. Grilla Grills, Point Reyes Cheese, Jocko Fuel, Epic Western, Capital Call Ventners. I mean, all of these companies have been just beyond incredible support and believing in what I'm doing is different. And it's bringing people together. It's helping their brands. It's spreading knowledge of their brand. And that's what partnerships are. It's help me help you. It's not all about me. And I love that you said the Jack Arnold experience, because it's not the Jack Arnold show. It is my experience, but it's your show. And I always put the hotel or the resort at the top of the ticket, because that's the respect you have to have, being that they could bring anyone into that nice property. It is a Ritz-Carlton event. It's a St. Regis event. It's whoever, powered by Jack Arnold, hosted by Jack Arnold, featuring Colorado craft beef, Grilla Grills, etc. So that's one of the things I've really been happy with what we do. We always want to give the property the respect of being the very top of the ticket, because it is their event.
Yeah. I think you touched on some really important thought processes there, Jack. And I'd say that you're a master in these collaborations and these experiences, as well as the networking side of that. So, the people piece, right? What advice can you give to our listeners when you think about potential collaborations, their network, even outside of barbecue, right? But just people, a general thought process on how to continue to network, and thinking about, how you just tiered that of like, these are our partners in this, yet this is a collaboration for, a bigger thought process and a bigger picture. How would you explain that to our listeners?
I mean, doing collaborations is for the love of doing collaborations with people that you adore and admire. It's not about you. So many people have a drive to do a collaboration thinking that'll help their own career. That's really going to fail every single time. If you go into a collaboration with someone, I mean, you already are investing time in them. You have a certain level of respect for them and you want to do it. And usually when I do collaborations, it's people that I love who really have influenced me and inspired me and encouraged me to keep doing what I'm doing. The people who I know in my life genuinely care about me, love me, have told me to never change. And I'm like, are you sure about that? But no, they all say that's what makes me different. And if you're doing what everyone else is doing, Kara, you're not doing it correctly. You have to find something about you that is different. And I love including everybody. I don't I respect everyone across the board, but I really don't care what your status is. If you support me and you appreciate me and you see what I do, then there's a high likelihood I will come to you and we will just grill out and have a good time. Or there's a high likelihood I'll say, look, I'm going to be in your area. I'd love for you to see what one of these events are all about. I'll cover your ticket if you come and see, and let's just see what you think. If you don't like it, you never have to come to one again. That's the good news. But at least you got to see why I'm doing something different than anyone else.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's part of our shared thought process, Jack. We have an ethos here of our customers are hero, and we're the guide in their story. We're not the hero of their story. Like we don't exist without our customers enjoying a high quality steak from us, and it's the same thing with our collaborators. Your prime example. There's a reason that we're doing business with who we're doing business with, and we do take that very seriously.
It means a lot to us personally because these people could spend their money wherever they want, and they're choosing to do it for a reason. And this is what makes us the individuals that we are. And it's been a long road, for all of us. Which is why I feel that when you're writing the story of your life, don't let anyone else hold the pen, because only you really know what you've been through.
Yep.
And the sacrifices you make to make this happen. I mean, you really got to put in some effort. I mean, I know it's not the way of the world these days to literally give something your absolute all to get it. I mean, a lot of people want things handed to them. I know that's the way it is right now, but if you are willing to put some serious sacrifice out there and believe in yourself, you can make anything happen. You really can. I am living proof of that. I mean, I've worked for Brooks Brothers, for United Rentals, all kinds of corporate, amazing companies, and here I am, a barbecue event host. You can't put it any different than that. I mean, it's crazy where life can take you. But every step that I've had in my life has led to this, and just making anyone proud that I can, especially my family and the people I love, my friends. It's just the best.
So within that, I would call it more of an entrepreneurial story. How would you summarize that for our listeners? Maybe somebody's thinking about, hey, maybe I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to go out on my own. Like, what 3 tips could you give somebody that's considering going after their own entrepreneurial journey?
Well, my story is a little different, to say the least. I lost my dad in November of 2019, and I realized that was the time that I really wanted to hit a different gear in my life and try to honor him with something that he had taught me and something that would make him proud. So I had that drive for one. Entrepreneurship, I mean, if that's the title, first thing is you can't go in it alone. you got to have the people you really love you and love you back you up. You have to have the support system. You have to have a few resources, and you really need to be a people person. Energy, as I say, going back to energy is everything. You can't be dull about it. You have to go in there and be like, bring infectious energy into the room. And at least that will be remembered. They may not like your offer or they may not agree with it, but at least you showed them something different. It's a process that builds. I mean, this has taken me, this is year 7 of the barbecue tour. I mean, this started, in 2018 for me, and people don't realize that the first couple of years when this was going, I was working my full-time job Monday through Friday, from 8 to 5. And then Friday night going from that 5 o'clock to the airport to fly somewhere in the country to do my Saturday barbecue event that was my dream and my passion, and then come back home on Sunday just to go back to work the very next morning for the week. I was not getting any time with my family or my friends, but it was the sacrifice that I was absolutely willing to make, basically 7 days a week for several years to get to where we are right now. I mean, you and Jeff have numerous 80-hour weeks, and it weighs on you, but it's the best feeling in the world knowing what everyone sees in you guys and what they appreciate about all that you're doing. And when I feel the love and appreciation, I mean, I still talk with all the chefs essentially and all the food and beverage directors I've worked with. I mean, we've become friends, and we love seeing each other. Like when I go back for a second or third event at some of these properties, like we love seeing each other again, and it's really special on what it is, the camaraderie and the brotherhood, and it's just the love shared. They all get it. They know that I'm not a chef coming in to upstage anybody. I'm there to just entertain their guests for the night. And so far it's been batting 1,000. Everybody's been able to get behind it. And it's all because I've just been who I am and showing them what I do, and then I head on home to get ready for the next one sometime down the road.
What's been your most memorable barbecue experience?
Oh, dear God, Kara, you'd have to ask me that, wouldn't you? After 6 years, we've done several international events. We've done the Four Seasons in Anguilla, the iconic Ocean Club in Bahamas, Four Seasons in Nevis, 2 of them in Lanai. Shout out to my friend Amir, food and beverage director, Four Seasons in Lanai, my good friend. But I still think the most memorable one, Kara, was the one that you guys were at in February, where I touched on, was that Forbes Summit. I've never seen more people in one setting, and it was supposed to be more, if you remember, but that wind picked up, knocked some glasses over outside, and we still had hundreds and hundreds of people out there. But on a rooftop in Las Vegas with all those grills, great music, and literally like these people who I am like honored to be in front of. I mean, you saw that was a very elite crowd, very top tier people in their organizations, all enjoying themselves. It's really hard to beat that. I mean, I'll never forget the sun setting in Lanai with 160 people in front of me while we were on the Luau grounds doing that event. I'll never forget having Naomi at the Four Seasons Austin for her first event when you guys were there for that, just being able to put on a show for her out of state with my family, my aunt and uncle, my cousins there, and some dear friends. I've had countless experiences that just stay with me dearly. And I always look up in the heavens and thank Dad after the event's over, because he's the reason I got to where I am. It's not stopping anytime soon. We're just blessed that we've got a couple 5-year residencies ahead, and you guys were with me 4th of July last year at the Ritz Key Biscayne. We're going to be there every July 4th through 2029, Kara. So it's to that point in our life and our career and our relationship to where people don't just want to see it once. They want to see it for years. And we're all very grateful for that. And you know how I feel about you guys believing in this whole crazy movement that's one of a kind in this country. And I'll always do the very best I can to make you guys proud.
Well, we're proud to be a small part of it too, Jack. We appreciate that. It's really cool to see, and I'll share my reflection from a ranching perspective here for a second. I look out and I see Nothing. I mean, it's bare ground. It's maybe a couple trees, birds. Like, I mean, I was born and raised in the middle of nowhere. This is where we raise cows, right? So to be able to share the experience of raising these cattle out here in the American West, the way that we do and how we do it with that type of crowd, you touched on the Forbes event. Never in a million years would have imagined I would be at a Forbes event with all of these 5-star properties. Like, when I think about my career, I was like, oh yeah, never would have been there. And then yet here we are with Jack at this Forbes event, being able to share the story of where this beef came from, how it came to be here, and the lifestyle and the heritage. And you have that with your dad of the story of bringing it here. Like, we have a lot of layers of stories, of incredible people partnering, with incredible brands to be able to create another experience and another story for the people that partake in a Jack Arnold event featuring CCB beef that they can take home and tell their friends and their family and have something that they can really remember and make a truly unforgettable experience around a product with incredible people. And that's very powerful.
Thank you very much. That you couldn't have said any better. That's exactly why we do this. That's why we hope it goes on as long as people can tolerate my energy. And let's just see where it goes, because it's only been up from here. And we all have a lot of great times ahead. I'm so blessed and so lucky for all you guys, all my partners, all these unbelievable hotels and organizations, hospitality groups that see it for what it is and are willing to share in the groove with us for a little time. And
it is pretty cool.
And I thank you guys so much for believing in me.
Yeah, it is really cool, Jack. And we always know that you represent not only, the company and our beef in the best light possible. And that means a lot. And that's something I would share with our listeners is, when you're thinking about whoever you're collaborating with or whatever brands you do business with, like thinking about those pieces of it, of what's behind that brand.
Yeah, I'm really glad you said that. That's one of the most important parts. A lot of people have partnerships and sponsorships out there with people they talk to via email, they've never talked to on the phone, they'll never meet, versus us where we've held each other's children. I mean, there's difference in that, and that's why I'm just so grateful for these kind of things, because it's well past barbecue events and steaks. I mean, it's family now. So
yeah,
that's what you honestly shoot for in the end.
Yeah, you do. And those are the things the things and the people that you remember. You can have an experience with a brand that's surface level. But I'd say the experience that you have, Jack, that it's much deeper than that. So when people experience that with you, which collaborates with all of the brands that you're a part of, right? It means a lot. And it goes a long ways. And people are, I would say from our listeners' perspective of just consider that every time you're interacting with a brand, whatever brand it may be. When you have that type of an experience, man, that carries some weight.
It does to me as well. And the amount of people who have even flown in for some of these events, like to stay at some of these properties for the weekend to come to the event. I mean, I can't believe it. I know it's not easy to do, especially at some of these properties we do it at. I mean, we know they're not inexpensive by any means, but the people are still doing it to support us and to do something different in our one life that we have to live. And I love being able to create that experience. I'm so thankful for everyone who's been willing to do that to me. I wish everybody I know could come to one of my events. I feel like I have invited everybody I know to one of my events or not. And that's just because I want them to see it and I want them to have a good time. I know it's not easy, but at some point we'll get just about everyone I know. That's my goal, to at least see it.
For sure. With that, let's look at the future. What's next? What exciting new partnerships, maybe new properties, etc. What does the future look like, Jack?
So for 2025, I'm They're still coming in. We've got a lot of holds right now for dates that should be confirmed soon. But Final Four barbecue in Grapevine, Memorial Day at Sea Island. We begin our Father's Day residency at the Ocean House in the Weekapaug Inn in June. We did Memorial Day there last year. I cannot thank Chef Terrence, Gabrielle, Stephanie, that whole team enough. Dan Hirsch for allowing me to come up there for years to do this now. This is going to be so much fun. The last 4th of July that we are going to be doing before we begin our Ritz Key Biscayne residency will be this year at Keswick Hall in the mountains of Virginia, a place that's very, very special to me. My mother and my stepfather used to belong there back in 1996 when I went to military school, and I learned to play golf at that course. And now to be hosting a 4th of July barbecue there is something, I mean, it touches me on the inside that I can't really explain. And we just found out that we're going to be doing Labor Day at the Tampa Edition Hotel, my first ever Edition property. I'm so excited about it. I've been wanting to do that for a while. Jeremy and Chris down there, met them at the Forbes Summit with you guys, and here we are. We're going to do Labor Day down there again, doing Halloween back at Keswick. It's going to be a great year ahead, and I am so excited to show you guys what it's going to be all about, especially with, the Grill of Grills is now a big part of it. We're calling it the Blackout Tour. The grills are black. I'm wearing all black. It's a lot of fun. And we dance the night away. We do a shot of tequila to cheers the night a lot of the times when it's allowed. So we're all about happiness, positive vibes, and just bringing you something you haven't quite seen before.
Absolutely. So if people want to follow you, they want the specific details about these events, where can we find it, Jack?
Well, if you find my Instagram is at Jack Arnold, my second pinned post actually has my entire tour schedule. And if you go to my website, officialjackarnold.com, you'll see all my partners, including you, on there, all the events, some awesome testimonials from some amazing people in our lives. Shout outs to Jocko, Patrick Schwarzenegger, all those people who have done that for me, and I am so excited for the future. I'm trying to contain myself right now, but we have a lot to come. I can't say everything that's coming, but it's going to be a great, great year ahead. So I'm very, very excited, and we're all in this together. It's the best part. It's a ride that we're all on together, and I'm so glad that people are on that ride with me. So
absolutely, yeah. So our listeners, take a look. Check out Jack on social media. See where you can find him. He'll be serving exclusively CCB beef, cooking up on our partnership grills, as well as all the other wonderful community that is a part of the Jack Arnold experience. So make the trip, go find him, see where you can partake in a one of a lifetime type of an experience. Jack, any additional closing thoughts before we close out?
The only advice I can give to everybody listening is, in their own respective arena, the saying was, it's not the plane, it's the pilot. It's all about what you make of what you've got in front of you, bringing the very best out of yourself and showing others that you're willing to put out anything you can to make it happen. I think that goes a long way in this world today. So just never stop believing in yourself, and let's see where the road takes you, because I'll be right there to support everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah, you mentioned the arena, and it just came to mind Teddy Roosevelt's Man in the Arena. You guys haven't reinforced that thought process in a while, go look it up, read it. It's a good one. That's something to be said about when you get in the arena. Be the one that's there and showing up.
Always be the first to show up and the last to leave.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much, Jack. We will also make sure that we tie all of the show notes to Jack's social media website, so all of our listeners know where to find you, Jack. So it's been an awesome conversation. Your passion for great food and bringing people together really shines through. We appreciate your insights on barbecue, beef, collaborations, and then we'll make sure that everybody knows where to find you in the show notes. To our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. keep learning, and most importantly, keep fueling your legacy with purpose. Catch you next time on Steak Bites.